Everyone, welcome back to another Total War Warhammer multiplayer battle. This is going to be the green skins versus their bitter rivals of the dwarves. For my army, we're going with a very sneaky army here. We have a total of 5 nasty skulkers mixed in with 4 of the basic night goblins as well. That is our entire front line, just a bunch of goblins. Behind them, we have 3 groups of these trolls. Actually, I can probably press play here. It's going to kind of be a long setup here. We have 3 trolls being led by the Night Goblin War Boss with a Goblin Big Boss as a bodyguard. The Night Goblin War Boss on the mount is an anti-infantry armor piercer with poison damage, so pretty good choice to have against the dwarves considering they are all small and armored for the most part. For the cav, we have a total of 3 orc boar boys who are deployed in positions to look for ranger vanguard deployments, of which there are none in this one, but I thought, you know what, I might as well check just to be sure there are no rangers hiding somewhere. So we have one right there, one right here, and then one boar boy over here. So just the basic boar boys, no need for biggest in this one. These are going to be pretty cheap, medium armored. Their melee stats are terrible. They kind of live or die on the charge. They have armor piercing with a 46 charge bonus. So like their initial charge is pretty impactful. It's just if they stay in fights for a while, they start to kind of feel the damage because they only have a melee defense of 22 and a melee attack of 22, so they're not the best, but they're pretty cheap and they can do some armor piercing damage, and I wanted to, you know, to use them a little bit. I think that's it. Oh, and then we have a Goblin Big Boss back here. Oh, sorry, not a Goblin, a Goblin Shaman back here with the Sneaky Stabbing and the Itchy Nuisance spells. That's going to be our caster, and then 2 siege engines with the Hammer of what is this? Yeah, Hammer of Gork, the Goblin Rock Lobber, and then just a normal Goblin Rock Lobber because they're also pretty cheap and they can apply pressure to the dwarven lines. So that's our army, and right now what I'm doing is I see an opportunity because the dwarves are out here on their hill, and we'll get to their composition here in a moment. And I was like, you know what would be kind of cool is if I have the enemy think I'm over here, but in reality we're going to be like sneaking all the way over here and eventually have a line that will look kind of like this. Behind the dwarves, and I'm just going to make them think that I'm right here because I'm putting my trolls behind an imaginary Night Goblin army here, putting my leaders back there, and I'm going to be whipping my cav on what would be our left and right flanks to, again, make them think that there's someone over here, but you're going to see we're going to be pretty sneaky over here. Anyway, for the Dowie, they brought 2 flame cannons, which I love because no one brings them because they're terrible for multiplayer, but I love to see them. They are, in theory, quite powerful. The problem is their range is terrible. And if you're going to bring them against any race, I suppose you could bring them against the greenskins because when you're building an army for a greenskin against Dowie, you're thinking Dowie are going to maybe have cannons. And so it's very risky to bring any of your artillery pieces on the field because they could get counter-sniped by the dwarven artillery. So maybe this player was thinking that so they wouldn't think that I would bring any. And so like we countered the counter of their, listen, the mind games here. But anyway, the reality is they brought 2 flame cannons, I think in hopes that we didn't have any kind of long-range weapons like Hammer of Gork and the Goblin Rock Lobber there, so that they can destroy a lot of our forces, because the flame cannons, again, in theory, can do a ton of damage to almost everything that we brought, especially the goblins. They are all lightly armored, and they would just get toasted by these things. So there's double of those. We also have the Iron Drake flamethrower unit here, not the Troll Hammer torpedoes, which, if you already have 2 flame cannons, I'd probably just bring the Troll Hammers, because they could do a lot of good focus fire down on large targets like trolls, or especially like Ragnarok queens and things like that. But we have the flamethrower variant. There are a total of 3 dwarf warriors in here. We have 3 dwarf quarrelers, 2 hammerers, and then a longbeard. Maybe not a longbeard. I thought there was. I guess just the 3 dwarf warriors. We have 2 miners with blasting charges, and then there are 1 slayer. There's 1 slayer in the back over here, and that's going to be their army, again, led by Thorgrim Grudgebearer. Now, what I'm doing over here is just trying to keep the enemy in place. I don't want them to really move that much. I like where they are currently at, next to the forest, where we can just kind of charge out, but I need to buy time for our goblins to get all the way around, which is what I'm doing. So we're kind of moving up, acting like we're going to attack. They throw a round of quarrel fire at us. We pull back, buy more time. Also, we're still getting our artillery in range, which I think just now got in range, so we're going to start peppering the hammerers who are stacked up on the quarrelers, which is really good for us. So we're going to get a lot of good damage there. And I'm going to fast forward just a little bit, because we're just going to be peppering them for a little while, and you know, dwarves don't really like to move, but they will move up a little bit, because we are just hammering them. Our trolls get blasted here by the flame cannon, so we're going to retreat back into the trees. And again, we're hoping that the enemy thinks that the goblins are right here. Not back here. That's what we're hoping. So I'm just kind of being very patient, just again getting our army in position, not really feeling too rushed because we are peppering them with our artillery. Getting some good damage done to the hammerers. They're going to move up again. which is even going to expose their backside a little even more. What this forces me to do, though, is I need to retreat these units away from visual range and buy time for these people to get up into a range, because I ideally want to hit this army from all sides at the same exact time, so that they can't really respond to any individual threat. So I'm starting to get our trolls up a little bit. We're just about to launch the charge, and these units are going to get spotted a little bit here soon, I think. I think it's about, there we go. So right now the enemy is now aware that I have a nasty skulker behind them. So we're going to be like, you know what, let's do it. We're going to charge the orc boys in here. They're going to go into the slayers, which is fine. The slayers are going to respond to one of our orc boys, so this is going to be the one that they respond to. We're going to send our goblin big boss and our night goblin boss in there as well. We're going to try and kill Thorgrim Grudgebearer. The wall goes down and the goblins are marching out of the forest, and we're going to try and do our best to surround this army. We are still peppering them with the Hammer of the Gork. We are casting Itchy Nuisance, I believe is what this is. Yeah, Itchy Nuisance on most of their units, which is lowering their weapon attack damage and melee attack as well. Getting into their flamethrower, or their flame cannons with the gobos. We're trying to crush their iron drakes. We're going to get the front with the hammers, with our trolls there, as you can see. Running right past the hammers. I think we're going to try and get into the iron drakes with our orc boar boys, I think. Who now have sneaky stabbing, so they're going to do a lot of good damage to the hammers. And again, we're zerging the Thorgrim Grudgebearer, and we are just all up in their lines. It is just such a beautiful goblin ambush. And, well, the enemy doesn't have much of a chance. I don't think they really got to fire any of their flame cannons at most of our goblins, which are now currently killing their crews. They are trying to kill our trolls, I think, and maybe our orc boar boys. They did manage to rot this orc boar boy and another orc boar boy, but that's gonna be a GG for us. Now, why am I showing this? Because, damn it, it's a goblin ambush and it looks cool. That's it. That's the only reason. Also, flame cannons. We gotta see flame cannons, and another reason why you should never bring flame cannons, basically. But good game to Indy. Actually, I accidentally just reloaded, so we're not even gonna see the. Yeah. I'm gonna fast forward through this so we can actually see the death screen and all the kills and stuff. So again, good game to Indy. We got some kills here. Night Goblins kind of just taking the kill count here. No kills for our hero squad. 64 on the Hammer of Gork. Trolls got a lot of kills really quickly too. For the enemy though, 98 kills on the Slayers. They did a lot of good damage to the Boar Boys, and I'm assuming some Goblins after that as well. Flame Cannons, I think, also did a lot of good damage to some of our other Boar Boys. I don't think they really got any shots into the actual Night Goblins though. And then the Iron Drakes killed 3, probably from melee. I don't think they ever really fired. The poor Hammers, though, they just got charged by the Trolls and the Orc Boys, and they were getting hit by the Hammer of Gork. They did not have a fun time. But anyway, thank you for watching. Or, no, sorry, we gotta watch the cinematic view. Let's go watch the cinematic view of this ambush thing. Hello, Dowie. If only they could see what is hiding in the forest over there. Flame cannons look really cool. I just wish they had a role in multiplayer. They're just hard to use. Oh man, the Iron Drakes don't even get to fire because they were on skirmish mode. Goblins! These gobos! beautiful dwarf formation, and then mere moments later, utter chaos. Just goblins everywhere. It's just not often you get to see something like that. That you get a total surround on an enemy and it... listen, it's not an amazing fight. There's nothing really much to learn here other than, you know, you could be really sneaky with goblins, I guess, on a dwarf player who brings flame cannons. If they had brought cannons and, you know, sniped some of my units, like this map in general was really good for the setup too, because they had to actually move up out of the deployment zone into this ridge to get any kind of decent firing arcs. So even if they had cannons, it probably would have ended about the same. But anyway, it was fun to do this. Listen, it was just really fun. That's why I showed it. That's all. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you all next time. Bye.